This isn't business. I'm not selling anything, she'd said. It's personal. Can you meet for a few minutes this afternoon? Weird call, maybe even risky. But something about it stuck with Dawn. She sounded calm, honest, but also like she was hiding something. He needed to know what this was. The cafe wasn't a chain, just a small, cozy place with soft chairs, a few work tables, and college kids buried in books. It was quiet when Dawn walked in. He scanned the room. She said she'd be in green. There, far corner, sitting alone, sipping something. He walked over. "Hey, I'm Don Premek." He offered his hand. "Terry Dixon," she said, shaking it lightly. A polite smile. "Want coffee before we talk?" she asked. "I'm good, not staying long," Don said. Not to be rude, just to keep things clear. He hated when conversations dragged out with no way to leave. "Have we met before?" he asked, even though they'd covered that on the phone. "No," she said. "Never." He noticed she looked a little tense. He sat down across from her. "All right, I'm here. What's this about? Your call was vague. What do you need from me?" Terry hesitated, looked him in the eye, studying him, like she wasn't sure how much to say. Don gave a small smile. "Go ahead." "I don't want anything from you," she said. "But there's something you should see. You and I don't know each other, but our spouses, they both work at Devon Construction." His chest tightened a little. What was this? They sat for a few seconds, quiet, tense. Then she took a breath and spoke again, clearer now. "I'll be straight with you. I hired a private investigator. I brought proof." She stopped, let that land. Don's heart dropped. This wasn't just a weird meetup anymore. This was something big and bad. He stared at her. She looked sad, tired, hurt. "What kind of proof?" he asked. "My husband's the VP of marketing at Devon. Your wife works there too. I hate saying this, but they're having an affair." Don froze. Everything around him just faded out. He heard her words, but they didn't feel real. Brenda? Cheating? He stared blankly, not moving. For a second, it was like time stopped. Then he blinked, looked at Terry again. His mouth opened, but nothing came out at first. She waited. Let him breathe. "What kind of affair?" he finally asked, voice low. "How long?" "Around a year," she said. "That's what the investigator thinks. A few people at Devon tipped us off. Said they have lunch together once a week. Turns out they've been going to a hotel nearby." She reached into her bag, pulled out a manila envelope. "This is everything," she said. "No photos of them in bed, but there are phone calls, texts, emails, even some audio. The guy I hired was good." Don didn't move, just stared at the envelope. "Oh my God," he whispered. His head was spinning. He hadn't expected this, not even close. The words, Howard Investigative Service, stared back at him from the front of the envelope. Terry saw him staring. "It's all in there," she said softly. Still nothing from Don. He couldn't believe it. Brenda had betrayed him, not once, over and over, for a year. Don finally spoke, mostly to himself. "A year, maybe more. How the hell didn't I see it? There had to be signs." "I get it," Terry said quietly. "I didn't see it with George either. We were close. I only found out after someone at Devon sent me an anonymous letter." He exhaled hard. "Just call me Don. And can I call you Terry? I guess we're stuck in the same mess now." "Sure, Don." "I'm planning to talk to George tomorrow," she added. "But I wanted you to hear it first. Brenda will find out right after I confront him." That shook Don. "Tomorrow? Can you hold off? Just a day or two? I need time to think. I don't even know what to do yet." Terry nodded. "All right, I can wait a couple days. I've known for weeks anyway. But I can't sit on it forever. My PI says they're planning a trip together soon." "A trip?" Don blinked. "She's been talking about a conference for weeks. When is it?" Terry shook her head. "There's no conference. They booked a 4-day adults-only cruise. Leaves the 14th. Don's stomach twisted. "How could she do this?" "We've got 2 little kids." Terry slid the envelope across the table. "This is your copy. It's not easy to read. Feels like a knife in the gut. But it's real. I'm sorry. My number's on the front. Call me when you're ready." She seemed calm, but Don could tell she'd had time to process. He was just now falling apart. "Thanks, Terry. I'll call you. I won't say anything to Brenda until you've talked to George. That's only fair. I need to figure this out." Terry's jaw tightened. Furious at Georgia, he wrecked our lives. You're in shock now, but soon it'll turn into rage. I'm not staying married to a guy who cheats. I want him to hurt. I just haven't figured out how yet. She paused, voice bitter. I'll confront him. Then I'll divorce him, and he won't give a damn. He and Brenda will walk off happy while you and I are left picking up the pieces. If you think of a way to hit back, email their coworkers, dig deeper. Let me know. I'm still working with the PI. Make them pay? Don repeated, glancing around the cafe. Yeah, she sighed. If you think of something, I'm in. I'll think about it, Don said. Right now, I'm just lost. I'm really sorry, Don, she said, standing up. Call if you need anything. She walked out. Don sat there watching the students typing away, focused, like nothing in their world had cracked in half. What the hell do I do now? He thought. He looked at the envelope. Didn't want to open it, but knew he had to. This was it, his new reality. He reached for it, pulled out the papers, let out a dry, broken laugh. Guess I've got homework too, he thought. Only this kind will wreck my life. His thoughts went to the kids. This would destroy their world. If Terry was right, if this proof was solid, then it was over. Divorce was coming. No going back. Sure, the marriage wasn't perfect, but he thought it was solid. Turns out Brenda didn't. She hadn't asked for help, hadn't said she was unhappy. She'd just cheated. Don sat still, wondering if he'd missed something. Had he not been enough? He had a few hours. Brenda wasn't expecting him yet, so he stayed in the cafe and read. It took 2 hours. There were pages of messages, phone logs, transcripts, a thumb drive with recordings and photos, lots of them. Her and George holding hands, kissing, leaving hotels. He felt sick. Looked around for a bathroom. By the end, it was clear. Brenda was not the woman he thought she was. Not a loyal wife, not a loving mom, just a selfish, lying cheater. She'd kept this up for a year. Weekly meetups, 2 fake business trips, a whole second life. Don realized something cold. He didn't know his wife at all. They'd met 7 years ago, right after college. Both worked for a tech company. He was in product. She was in accounting. They met at the company holiday party. Downtown. Formal. You look hot tonight, Natalie told Brenda, eyeing her red dress. Natalie was one of Brenda's work friends from Davin Construction. That night, the two of them and a few other girls had decided to hit up the office holiday party together. Thanks, Nat, Brenda said, smoothing the fabric. Felt like dressing up for once. Well, you nailed it. That dress hugs you just right. Guys won't leave you alone. Brenda smiled, but wasn't sure. She never saw herself as someone guys noticed. Her brown eyes and light brown hair were nice enough, but she thought she was a bit soft around the edges. At 5'4", she wasn't tall like Natalie, and tall girls always seemed to get more attention. She didn't fuss much with makeup or her hair. Work came first, then friends. She was friendly, but not flashy. When they went out, it was always her friends who got the looks. Brenda ended up talking to the leftover guys. Sometimes it led to a date, sometimes a night. But at this party, something different happened. That's when she saw Don. He wasn't loud or cocky. He was just standing near the bar, eyes scanning the crowd. And when he looked their way, Brenda figured he'd make a beeline for Natalie or Teresa. That's how it usually went. But he didn't. He walked right up to her. Want to dance? He asked, looking her straight in the eyes. She blinked. Sure. They danced. One song turned into a few, then an hour. When the music paused, Don leaned in. You're beautiful. I'd really like to see you again. Can I get your number? Brenda smiled, nodded. He handed her his phone. Text yourself so I've got it, he said. She did. He gave her a warm smile and walked off. Nice pull, Natalie whispered with a smirk. Brenda couldn't stop thinking about him after that. He was kind, funny, and easy to be around. She hoped he'd call, but didn't hold her breath. Guys often didn't. But on Monday night, her phone rang. It was Don. He asked her to a movie that Friday. The date was great. After that, they were together constantly. Don fell hard, and Brenda loved it. He brought her flowers, chocolates, little surprises. He made her feel seen. She'd never had that before. Nerds win sometimes, Don joked to himself. Brenda bragged about him nonstop, posted cute pictures, tagged him in everything. He's a total romantic, Teresa wrote under one photo. You found a keeper. One night, after a sweet dinner, Brenda flopped on her bed, grinning like a teen. I found someone who really sees me, she thought. Guys like this still exist? Dawn opened doors, kissed her hand, made her feel safe. She was falling, and fast. About a month in, Dawn told her to dress nice on a Friday night. Where are we going? She asked, curious. You'll see, he grinned. They drove downtown. Brenda pointed out open parking spots. I've got it, Dawn said, circling once more. Soon they were outside a club with a glowing sign, Blue October Live Tonight. Her jaw dropped. No way, you knew I loved them? Saw them in your favorites on Facebook, he said proudly. She grabbed his arm. Thank you. I seriously don't even know how to repay you. Then with a smirk, actually, I do, but that'll have to wait till later. The concert was amazing. They danced, sang along, and later that night ended up at her place. It just felt right. Not long after, they got married. Nothing fancy, just close friends and family. Brenda was glowing for months. She dragged Dawn to every party, posted everything, tagged every moment. She loved showing off their life. And Dawn? He didn't care about social media, but he liked how proud she was to be with him. Present-day Terry had just gotten back from her talk with Dawn. She sat alone in the living room of her and George's house, watching the gas fireplace flicker. The place felt too big now. 4 bedrooms, gym room, family space, and no kids left at home. She'd been thinking about asking George to move. Now it didn't matter. Big change was already on the way. She and George had been married 26 years. 2 grown kids, 2 grandkids. Their families had known each other since grade school. George had come home after getting his MBA, 6 hard years of study. His folks were proud and threw a big party in their yard to celebrate. Catered food, perfect weather. Terry was 19 then, came with her parents. She hadn't seen George in years, but remembered he used to tease her and flirt. Once when they were kids, he told her she'd grow up to be beautiful. She'd blushed. George saw her across the yard and did a double take. Was that Terry? She looked nothing like the teen he used to tease. Tall, blonde, graceful now. He walked over to his parents, then turned to her. Damn, you grew up. They chatted while their folks made small talk. The spark hit fast. They kept drifting back to each other all night, always finding some excuse to talk. Terry was drawn in. George gave her his full attention, and that meant something. She was proud of him. Degrees, career, everything. He'd done well. And George? He couldn't stop looking at her. She reminded him of the blonde girl on one of those fancy beer bottles, classic and impossible to forget. Later, as Terry's family said goodbye near the gate, George stepped up beside her. Thanks for coming. Really, I wish we'd had more time to talk. Want to grab dinner tomorrow? Terry looked him in the eye and smiled. Yeah, I'd like that. They went on a few dates over the next 2 weeks. George didn't play games. He made it clear he liked her. They kissed after each date. But that last night in his car, they just sat close for 15 minutes, not wanting to say goodbye. Terry, George said, I'm heading back to San Francisco, but I'm not walking away from this. If you're up for long distance, I am. We'll figure it out. And they did. They emailed, called, stayed close. A year later, they made it official. Terry moved out west. Big wedding, big future. Now they'd been married 26 years. In the beginning, they were a team. Kids, house, George chasing promotions. Terry ran the home. George focused on his job. But things shifted. The kids were gone. The team vibe faded. George still wanted to move up, maybe make VP. But the field had changed. Tech skills mattered now. And in meetings, George often felt like the young guys were speaking code. At Dave & Construction, George had worked with Brenda for a while. He was VP of marketing. She handled vendors and finance. Their roles overlapped, so they ended up in a lot of meetings. Brenda was bright, chatty, fun. George found himself enjoying her company. He didn't usually flirt at work. It felt risky. But Brenda, she flirted back. They laughed a lot, grabbed lunch now and then, sometimes in a group, sometimes not. He started noticing things, the way she dressed, how she smiled at him. He'd compliment her hair or her blouse, and she'd light up. Brenda wasn't blind either. She saw the way George looked at her, and she liked it. He was sharp, handsome, older, but confident. She started thinking about him more than she should. Doesn't hurt to imagine, she told herself. One Wednesday, after the morning briefing, George came over. Brenda, Greg said you've been chatting with Ace Construction. I've got a meeting with them Friday about a different deal. Mind filling me in on what you've heard? She smiled. Busy tomorrow morning, but I'm free after 4. I've got a meeting then, he said, thinking. What about dinner? We could grab something nice, talk through it. I owe you a meal anyway. He smiled wide. Brenda saw what was happening. She blushed a little, played along. George, I'm married. I can't be out at dinner with you. He grinned. I'll behave. At least during dinner. She hesitated. She knew it wasn't right. They were both married. But it was just dinner, right? If you really want to talk, Ace, fine, but take me somewhere good, she winked. The next day, she picked her outfit with care, did her makeup, something subtle but nice. As dinner started, guilt hit her in waves. She was sitting across from a married man who'd been flirting for weeks. This feels wrong, she thought, but it's just food, that's all. George was smooth, funny, smart, easy to talk to. She felt herself relaxing. You look amazing tonight, he said. She blushed. Thanks. Later, they touched hands across the table. Brenda's heart raced. It felt like being 20 again, like when Don first chased her. Why me, she wondered. George could have someone way prettier. She'd always seen herself as average. Not skinny, not super made up. Just okay. But the look in George's eyes made her feel like the only woman in the room. This can't go further, she told herself. I love Don. For weeks, George kept finding excuses to stop by Brenda's office. She felt his interest, and yeah, she liked it, the thrill of it. Still, she wasn't sure if he'd ask her out again. Then a month later, he showed up. Brenda, he said, leaning on the doorframe, and how about another dinner? She didn't even try to hide the smile. Sure, George, I'd like that. At dinner, same deal. He complimented her, held her hand, and they realized they had even more in common. Afterward, as they walked to their cars, George paused. He leaned in close, hand brushing her waist. He opened the passenger door to his Mercedes. Hotel's just around the corner, he said. Brenda's voice came out low. Take me? That's how it started. For over a year, the affair burned hot. Brenda told herself it was just a wild secret, something exciting. George pulled the strings, set up fake meetings, added extra days to trips, even booked separate flights so no one would notice. One Monday, during a department meeting, they sat across from each other. While some guy droned on about logistics, George scratched his nose. Their little signal. Afterward, he caught her in the hallway. Planning a trip. Just us, he whispered. Usually, they hid behind work. But this one? Just pleasure. A cruise? Brenda blinked. Are you serious? 4 days, adults only, it'll be perfect, George said, grinning. She wanted to say no, she really did. She had Don. The kids, a life. But the idea hooked her. Brenda told herself she'd be careful, that she wouldn't let it go too far. But she was already in deep. She'd fly out for a client visit, George would meet her there, and they'd steal a night or two. Don had no clue. Neither did Terry. Until one night, Terry hugged George after work and caught a strange perfume on his shirt. She started hugging him every night after that. Same perfume, every week. At first, she tried to deny it, but George had changed. He still said all the right things, but it felt empty. Then came the note. Just a few words, no signature. Brenda's name was on it, and the exact scent of that perfume was sprayed across the page. That was all Terry needed. She hired a private investigator. It didn't take long. The PI dug up almost everything. George had even canceled a company trip and replaced it with the cruise to sneak away with Brenda. 2 days after Terry told Don the truth, he called her. How are you holding up? He asked. I'm fine. You? I'm pissed. I can't believe they did this. I've made up my mind. I'm divorcing Brenda. I'm divorcing George too. Then let's hit them where it hurts. Terry paused. I'm listening. They met again for coffee. Don had a plan. Let them have their little fantasy cruise, he said. But not the way they think. They set everything in motion. On the day of the trip, George and Brenda packed like teenagers sneaking off. That morning, Don stood by the front door while Brenda grabbed her bag. I've loved you for 10 years, Don said. Built a life, a family, gave everything. I believed you did too. Brenda barely looked up. Of course I do, Don. I love you. But Don just stared at her. She didn't even flinch, just lied straight to his face. Selfish witch, he thought, but he kept his voice calm. Why don't you skip this trip? Stay home with me and the kids. Let's do something fun, amusement world or something. She laughed a little. I can't. I need to learn the new accounting software. My boss would flip if I bailed. Don nodded slowly. Well then, have a great time, Brenda. Later that day, George and Brenda boarded the cruise ship, laughing like newlyweds. Brenda called Don from the ship. I'm at the hotel. Long days ahead, but I'll try to call in the evenings. Love you. Don hung up. She sounded rushed, like she couldn't wait to throw her phone down and crawl into bed with George. What she didn't know? 2 private investigators were already on the ship, undercover. And just a few hours in, the first pictures hit Don's phone. The first photos came in. Brenda and George by the pool, lounging like nothing mattered. Don barely reacted. He picked up the phone. It's time. Let's cut their phones, he told Terry. Since both he and Terry were still on shared plans with their spouses, one call to the provider was all it took. By that afternoon, George and Brenda's phones were dead. Let the fun begin, Don muttered. He logged into Brenda's Facebook. Her password? Still the same. She'd never changed it. He posted, I love Don. He was a good husband, but I wanted more. So I found a real man. This is George. He's rich, hot, and a VP at my job. We're on a cruise. Don't worry, I've totally forgotten about my husband and kids. I'll post more tomorrow. What do you think? Cute, right? 3, 2, 1, Don whispered, then hit post. In minutes, the comments started. Is this real? Someone wrote. Brenda, what the hell? Another friend posted. How could you do this to Don? Someone else asked. Some unfriended her. Others just unleashed their rage in the comments. Perfect, Don said to himself. A few hours later, Don's phone rang. He saw the name. Hey, Carla, how are you? He said. Hi, Carla said. I've been trying to reach Brenda. Haven't heard from her since last night. She's at a conference in Florida, Don said. Oh, okay. Should I be worried? Carla asked. I'm sure she'll call you tonight, he said. I'll let her know you called. Thanks, please do, Carla said. After the call, Don sent a quick message to Terry. First post's up. Go look, he texted, then dropped the link to Brenda's profile, shut off his phone, and went to sleep. The next morning, Don got the kids ready, then turned his phone back on. Voicemail from Carla. Another message from a number he didn't know. It was Brenda. Hey, my phone's dead. Borrowed a coworker's. I'll try to call tomorrow, she wrote. Don smirked. She still had no clue. That afternoon, Don got a message from the PI team. George and Brenda were off the ship, lying on a beach. A few minutes later, more pictures rolled in. Them laughing, sipping drinks, touching. Then came the big one. They'd rented a beach tent. The PI used a long lens and caught a 5-minute video. Don watched it in silence. Now I've got everything I need, he said softly. Rage burned in his gut. I'm going to burn your cheating A to the ground, he whispered. And I'm doing it in front of your friends, your coworkers, your whole damn family. He checked Facebook again. Brenda's post had gone viral. Hundreds of comments. Her defenders were quiet now. Even her closest friends were calling her out. Let's see what they say after tonight, Don said. He posted again, still acting as Brenda. Why is everyone so mad? George is rich and knows what he's doing. Want proof? I uploaded pics and our new video to the cloud. Go check it out. Oh, and Don still doesn't know. So, hey mom, just click the link. He added the cloud link. That should erase whatever image she had left, Don said. He wasn't done. He booked a meeting with a divorce lawyer, went to the bank, pulled half the savings into a new account. That evening, he canceled all their credit cards. An hour later, his phone rang again. It was Carla. Don, oh my God, Carla cried. Brenda's lost her mind. Have you seen her Facebook? Yeah, Don said calmly. I saw it this morning. Why didn't you tell me last night? She asked. I wasn't sure, he said. Didn't want to believe she'd really post that. There are more now, Carla shouted. More pictures, a video, a link. Everyone's calling me. No one can get through to her. There was a pause. Then Carla's tone softened. Don, I have to ask, did she catch you cheating or something? No, Don said firmly. I've never cheated. Not once. I don't know what she's thinking. Maybe she just wants to wreck her life in public. Have you talked to her? Carla asked. No. Her phone's still off, Don said. I even called the cruise line, Carla said. There's no one on board named Brenda Primack. She probably used George's name, Don replied. Do you know his last name? She asked. Nope. And I don't care, he said. But if you do talk to her, tell her I'm telling the kids. I won't say much, just that we're done. I'm not letting them hear it from someone else. Okay, Don, Carla said quietly. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve this. I don't get it. Even if she cheated, why blow it up like this? Because she stopped caring, Dawn said coldly. That's why. Dawn's phone rang again. This time it was Terry. My God, Dawn, she said. You really blew them up with those photos? I can't believe they recorded themselves. It was hard to even watch. Everyone at Dave and Construction knows Brenda's whole circle is talking. The whole company's buzzing about their little cruise adventure. I've already had 10 people call me. Terry, Dawn said, we've got all we need. Time to turn their phones back on. Let them see the show's over. They can come home or not. I don't care either way. Do you think we went too far? She asked. Their affair's out in the open now. George might lose his job. Brenda probably won't, but her friends all know. Hell no, we didn't go too far, Dawn snapped. They lied. They cheated for a whole damn year. All we did was show the truth. We didn't make them screw around. We didn't tell them to take videos. That's all on them. We just gave people the link. Terry was quiet for a moment. You're right, she said. Still hurts, though. I know, Dawn said. Call me cold, but I'd go further if I could. I'll divorce her so fast it'll make her dizzy. To hell with her and George. I loved George for so long, Dawn, she said quietly. It's hard to believe it's really over. I get it, Dawn said. And if Brenda had just come to me, said she was done, wanted out, I'd be crushed, yeah. But I'd respect it. Instead, they sneak around, take this damn cruise, laugh while we're home raising their kids, and keeping it all together. You're a good man, Dawn, Terry said. And you're right, George didn't just cheat. He threw me away. I gave him everything. I stayed loyal. I could have had other men. I stayed because I loved him. Terry, Dawn asked. Did you ever cheat on him? No, she said softly. Never. Thought so, Dawn said. You probably had guys flirting all the time. Guys who treat you better, but you stayed faithful. You did the right thing, and this is how he repays you. My advice? Get a good lawyer. I'm seeing mine tomorrow. Already started, Terry replied. Talked to mine last week. Papers are in the works. Good, Dawn said. I know you're right, Terry said. It's just, this wasn't how I saw my life going. But maybe that life wasn't real. George doesn't love me. He left. You're right, Dawn. Screw him. Screw her, too. I hope they rot. I'll call the phone company, she added. George's line will be back on by morning. I'll let the PIs know we're done. That night, Don tucked the kids in, watched SportsCenter, and sipped a second rum and coke. His phone lit up. Brenda. He let it go to voicemail. She called again and again. Every 15 minutes. Don shook his head. She knows. She finally knows it's over. He shut off his phone and went to bed. But he couldn't sleep. Tomorrow was going to be hell. He'd have to sit his kids down and tell them the truth. Mom and Dad weren't staying together. He went over it in his head, how he'd say it, how to soften the blow. He knew their questions were coming. Terry had been right. This was the worst. Don just hoped he could get joint custody. He couldn't imagine not seeing them every day. And even now, even with all this, he had to admit, Brenda was still a good mom. And yeah, he still loved her. He hated that he did. She was smart, funny. They had this thing, like they could read each other's thoughts. They'd built a real life together. And now it was gone. You can love someone and hate them at the same time, Don whispered. What a damn mess. He wished she'd never cheated. He knew she liked attention. Maybe that made her easy for a guy like George. But he'd never thought she was selfish. Until now. God, Don thought. I've started seeing her for what she is. Selfish. Cold. I gave her everything, and she just did whatever the hell she wanted. I'm just the guy who paid the bills and helped with the kids. He turned off the light and stared at the ceiling. How did we get here? He whispered. Looking back, it made no sense. Had he really been that blind for 10 years? What a damn fool I was, he muttered. Thought we'd grow old together. What a joke. 3 days into the cruise, Brenda's phone finally buzzed on the counter in their cabin. It had been charging, untouched. She picked it up. What the hell? 23 messages? She said, frowning. George looked over. What's going on? He asked. Why so many texts? I don't know, Brenda said. Maybe something happened with the kids. Her chest tightened. She started scanning. A bunch were from Carla, none from Don. Hands shaking, she called her sister. What the hell is going on over there? Carla yelled through the phone. How the hell could you post that crap on Facebook? Are you insane? Brenda blinked. What? What are you talking about? That garbage about you and your lover George on a cruise together. How could you do that to Don? What about your kids? Carla shouted. Brenda's legs gave out. She dropped onto the couch, speechless. George stared at her, worried. Brenda, you there? Carla yelled through the phone. What the hell is going on? How do you think people found out about you and George? You said Facebook? Brenda asked, dazed. Carla, I haven't posted anything in days, I swear. Well, someone did, Carla snapped. There are photos, a video, you and George on a cruise. It's all over your page. The phone slipped from Brenda's hand and hit the floor. She stared at it like it might explode. What the hell is happening? George asked. Brenda couldn't speak. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Then she slowly picked up the phone again. You need to take that crap down. Now, Carla said. And you better figure out what you're going to tell everyone. We're heading back now, Brenda said. Ship gets to Miami tomorrow morning. My flight's not till late. Then fix your page now, Carla said, and call Don. He needs to hear from you. Brenda ended the call and opened Facebook. She deleted the posts, but the link to the cloud storage? Still there. She clicked it. Her stomach turned. Who took these? She whispered. Who the hell got this footage? She scrolled through her friend list. She had less than 75 left. Most had unfriended her. Oh my God, she whispered. Everyone hates me. She looked at George, panic in her eyes. Don had to be behind this, George said. He knew. He must have hired a PI. He hacked your page. No, Brenda said. Don wouldn't do that. He'd have to hate me to post something this cruel. He does, George said. And he hates me too. My name's in all the posts. He wanted Terry to find out, and he made sure she did. Brenda sat still. Don had found out, and he'd taken her down in one brutal move. He did a damn good job, she muttered. Her job was probably gone. George's too. The kids. God, she didn't even want to think about what they'd heard. They were stuck on this ship, with nowhere to go. The trip had become a floating cage. This is going to be the longest 24 hours of my life, she whispered. George nodded. They didn't speak much that evening, just sat in silence, left the room once to eat, then came back and sat again. Later, Brenda broke the silence. George, how could Don do that? She asked. Well, George said, sighing, you were on a cruise with another guy. What'd you expect? Screw you, George, Brenda snapped. This just blew up my whole life. Half of Davin works with you. They've all seen it. Terry's seen it too, George said quietly. Think we'll get fired? Brenda asked. I don't know, he said. I don't even want to think about it. They sat in silence again. Brenda stared out the window at the dark sea. I don't want to, she said, but I need to call Don. I need to hear it from him. That night, she called. No answer. She called again. Still nothing. The next morning, he picked up on the second ring. Yeah, Don said, voice flat like concrete. Don? Come on, Brenda started, her voice shaky. You know I'm not at any damn conference. I saw what's on my Facebook. You posted that crap, didn't you? What the hell is wrong with you? Click. He hung up without a word. Brenda blinked at the screen, mouth open. She called again. No answer. Tried once more 15 minutes later. This time he picked up. You done throwing your little fit? Don's voice was cold steel. Now maybe we can talk about how you ditched your family to go screw around like some teenage idiot. Don, she faltered. I didn't mean for things to get this far. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. A mistake? He laughed, low and bitter. Nah, leaving your husband and your kids while you shacked up with that limp pecker clown? That's not a mistake. That's a choice, Brenda. You chose that. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. You torched our whole life for what, huh? He snapped. A couple hotel nights and fake promises. What the hell were you thinking? Were you even thinking at all? She sniffled hard, trying to say something. But nothing came. Oh, now the waterworks? He scoffed. Save it. You weren't crying when you walked out on your kids. I'm sorry, she whispered. I swear to God, I didn't know how to fix it. I don't even love him. Shut up, Don cut her off, voice hard as nails. I don't give a damn who you love. I gave you everything, Brenda, and you pissed on it. You think you can just cry your way back in now? I don't want to lose you, Don, she cried. "I want to fix this, I swear. I'll do anything." He paused. When he finally spoke, his voice was sharp, slow, dangerous. "Yeah? Then drag your A home right now and pray to God I'm still in the mood to listen." Then he hung up. George's hands were trembling as he dialed. The line rang once, twice. She picked up. Her voice was ice. "Took you long enough?" He exhaled like he'd been punched. "Terry, I don't even know what to say. I messed up bad. I was stupid. I was weak. I'm sorry." She let out a cold little laugh. "You're sorry. That's cute. You think sorry is going to patch this mess up? I'll do anything to make this right. Please, Terry. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to fix what I broke." "Fix it? Baby, this ain't a leaky faucet. You shoved a grenade into this marriage and now you're standing in the rubble asking if I need a broom? I love you, Terry. I swear I never stopped. I was just lost." "No, George, you weren't lost. You chose that witch. You chose to lie." Again and again. That's not lost. That's calculated. He tried to breathe. His voice cracked. "I didn't mean for it to go that far. You did it, George, whether you meant to or not. You dropped your pants and your dignity. I've got the damn photos to prove it. Hell, I posted them." He flinched. "That was you?" "Damn right it was. I paid those PIs. I watched you both. I saw every lie, every kiss, every sneaky hotel room. You didn't just cheat. You performed it like a damn show." "Jesus, Terry." "Don't Jesus me. I've already talked to my lawyer. Papers are in motion, and don't even think about begging in court. You're not the sufferer here." "Please, Terry, don't throw us away like this." "No, George, you threw us away the second you dropped your boxers for some side action. I'm just taking out the trash." Click. Silence. Then the line went dead. Terry had hung up. George didn't blame her for hanging up. If anything, he was glad. No point dragging out a call like that. If she ever wanted to talk again, they could do it when he got back. The next day, George and Brenda walked through the airport just past security. They didn't say much. Heads down, tired, slow steps. No more crews, no more hiding. Just the mess waiting back home. They walked through the terminal together, quiet, heading for the exit, down the escalator. One slow step at a time. Dozens of drivers waited, holding signs. Neither of them noticed. Then two men in dark suits stepped out and said their names. "George Carlson?" one asked. "Brenda Primack?" the other said. Both nodded, confused. The men handed each of them a thick envelope. "You've been served," they said together. Calm, cold, professional. Brenda just stared at them, her face blank. "What?" she whispered. The men walked away. George turned to her. "They're divorcing us, Brenda," he said softly. "These are the divorce papers." Brenda's legs gave out. She dropped to the floor, shaking. Tears rolled down her face, then turned to sobs. People nearby stopped to look. When she looked up again, George was gone, already walking down the hall alone. 45 minutes later, Brenda grabbed her car from the airport lot and started driving home. She sent a quick text. "I'm on my way," she wrote to Don. She figured he'd need time to get ready. So did she. George had told her to fight for her marriage, but now, with divorce papers in her hand, it didn't seem like Don wanted that. Still, maybe it wasn't too late. She had to try. The drive home was a blur. She barely remembered the turns. Her head spun. No plan. Just the need to see Don, to explain. When she finally turned onto her street, the sun was low. Everything looked normal. Don always parked in the garage. She couldn't tell if he was home. As she pulled into the driveway, her stomach twisted. What if he changed the locks? What if he doesn't even let me in? She walked to the door and grabbed the handle. It was locked. Her heart jumped. No, please, she whispered. She slid her key into the lock and turned. It opened. The door creaked as she stepped inside. It was quiet. Too quiet. No Don, no kids, just empty space and fading light. Dragging her suitcase in, she flicked on the hallway light. "Hello?" she called. "Anyone home?" "Nothing." "Damn it," she muttered. "They're not here." She left the bag near the door and walked through the house. Everything was clean, untouched, but the silence made her skin crawl. At least Don hadn't moved out. She went upstairs, stopped at the kids' room, looked in. The beds were messy. Toys on the floor, Chelsea's pink blanket, Trevor's Transformers sheets. Brenda held the door frame as her legs gave way again. She had done this. She had torn her life apart. She sobbed into the empty room. She didn't know how long she stood there, crying. Then a thought hit her. Maybe Don had taken the kids to his parents. She checked the bedroom. Don's clothes were still in the closet. A tiny bit of hope sparked in her chest. Downstairs, she opened the fridge. Her stomach was hollow, but before she could eat, she saw it, a note on the table. She picked it up with shaking hands. It was from Don. "I'm at my parents' with the kids. I'll be back in the morning so we can talk. You can see the kids after that." Brenda clutched the note to her chest. "God, more waiting," she whispered. She sank into a chair. It felt endless. But deep down, she knew. It was just starting. Tomorrow's talk would be brutal. Still, she had to be strong. Don had to know she still loved him. She always had. George's flirting had pulled her in, but she'd never stopped loving Don. She walked into the office and opened Facebook. There it was, the post Don had made under her name. Her stomach turned. "I know I hurt him," she muttered, "but he destroyed me with this." It made her look like a joke, like she didn't care, like she was proud of cheating. She deleted the post. Then, after a pause, she started typing. "I didn't write the last posts. My account was hacked. Yes, I had an affair. I'm not proud of it. But I didn't post those photos. I didn't brag. I'm sorry you all saw that." She hit post. Then she logged off and went upstairs. She didn't even carry her bag. Still in her travel clothes, she collapsed on the bed and cried herself to sleep. She woke the next morning under the covers, still dressed. The clock said 7 a.m. Dawn could be here any time now. She dragged herself out of bed, pulled off her wrinkled clothes on the way to the bathroom. The house felt hollow. The silence was sharp. She stepped into the shower, alone. No kids laughing, no Dawn moving around, just water and guilt. She wasn't crying now. She just felt numb. Dawn will be here soon, she thought, and I still don't know what to say. She hadn't opened the divorce papers yet. She had no idea what was in them. She needed to know. After her shower, she made coffee and toast, butter and jelly, her usual. She ate it fast, her first real food in 2 days. Then she sat at the table and opened the envelope. It was cold, legal, distant. Don wanted joint custody. 50-50ths. He wanted to sell the house, split everything. 9 years of marriage, now just a list of bullet points. "It's like reading my own obituary," she whispered. She pushed the pages aside and wiped her face. She wasn't going to let it end like this. She needed help, a lawyer, a plan. She took a deep breath and picked the papers back up. She had to understand every word because the fight for her family had just begun. She heard the door swing open. Her stomach flipped. She jumped to her feet, heart racing, and rushed into the hallway. Don stood there, staring, like she was some stranger who broke into his house. "Don," she breathed, "you came." He didn't say a word, didn't move, just looked her up and down with dead eyes. She stepped toward him, arms out, voice cracking. "I missed you so much." Don raised his hand. Hard stop, no hug, no touch, just a wall of ice. "Don, don't!" he barked. "Don't even try." She froze, 3 feet away like she'd hit an invisible fence. Tears were already rolling. She looked like a wreck. "Good. I'm sorry," she whispered. He tilted his head. "Sorry? That's it? You think sorry means crap after what you did?" She wiped her face, trying to speak. I know I hurt you. I hate myself for it." "You should," he snapped. "You burned down this whole damn family, and for what? A couple nights with that clown? You think I didn't see through the lies?" "I didn't love him," she said. "It was stupid. I wasn't thinking, Don't play dumb now, Brenda," he cut in. "You were thinking just fine when you spread your legs. Don't act like it just happened." She gasped, chest heaving, broken. "I thought we were good," Don went on. "I thought we had something real. But you? You were out there faking it like a pro." "I wasn't faking," she cried. "I got lost, okay? I felt invisible." He laughed, bitter and cruel. "Yeah? So you fixed that by screwing the first guy who looked your way? Real classy." "I hate what I did," she sobbed. "I hate myself." "Yeah, well, join the club. The difference is, I didn't cheat. I didn't destroy our kids' home." She broke. "Please, Don, please don't leave me. Don't divorce me. I'll fix it. I'll do anything. I swear to God." He stepped closer now, face twisted with rage. "Now you care? Now that you're standing in the mess you made? Get this straight. I don't owe you a damn thing. Not pity, not forgiveness, nothing." She reached out, desperate. Just wait. Hold off on the divorce. Please. Just a little time. I'll prove to you I still love you. I'll fix this. For the kids, at least. He lost it. Don't bring them into this, he growled. You weren't thinking about them when you were screwing that loser in his apartment, were you? Don't come crying to me about family now. She broke down hard, sobbing uncontrollably. Please, Don, you're done here, he said flat. You can stay tonight for the kids. Sleep on the damn couch. Tomorrow, I want you gone before I walk back through that door. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She just cried. He turned without another glance, opened the door and walked out like she didn't exist. Brenda dropped to the couch, screaming into the cushions like a woman on fire. An hour later, the door opened again. Don came back. With the kids, not a word, not a look. The moment Brenda walked in, the kids ran straight into her arms, squealing and hugging tight. Mommy, Chelsea shouted. You're back, Trevor yelled. Brenda dropped to her knees and hugged them like she'd never let go. Tears stung her eyes, but she forced a smile. Then she looked up. Don stood nearby, face blank, eyes cold. He didn't say a word. He just walked past them and into the home office, door closing behind him. Brenda took a shaky breath and held the kids closer. She made dinner. After they curled up on the couch and watched cartoons. At 9, she tucked them in, kissed their heads, and whispered goodnight. Don never came out. At 10, she heard him walk upstairs and into the bedroom. She stayed on the couch, curled up with her phone in hand, and cried herself to sleep. The next morning, her phone alarm buzzed. She sat up, surprised she'd slept at all. Sunlight was just starting to break through the windows. She got up, made porridge and coffee, and set the table with the best smile she could fake. After breakfast, she walked upstairs, hoping to catch Don. The bedroom was empty. 2 big suitcases sat on the bed. How thoughtful, she muttered. She dropped the kids off at school, came back home, and stood in the hallway staring at the cases. It's my house, too, she whispered, but she didn't unpack. She knew Don needed space, control, distance. She picked up the phone and called her sister. Brenda, Carla answered. You back in town? Yeah, Brenda said with a sigh. Got served the minute I landed. There was a pause. I think you still have a chance, Carla said. But he's pissed. He wants me out, Brenda said. Can I stay with you for a bit? Sure, Carla replied, voice flat. Brenda could hear it, that tone. Carla didn't hate her, but she wasn't proud either. Thanks, Brenda said. I'll come by after work if I still have a job. She walked into the office bracing for chaos. Instead, nothing. Just stares, whispers, people avoiding her eyes. She stayed at her desk, kept her head down, and skipped the break room. At lunch, she ate in her car. All day, she waited for her boss to call her in. He didn't. Around 3 p.m., she saw him outside a meeting. You get your energy back from the trip? He asked. Good. Big pitch Friday. Be ready. That was it. No speech, no warning, no mention of George. Later that week, Brenda finally talked to George. We're not getting fired, he said. They worked something out. I lose my bonus, 1 year probation. What about me? Brenda asked. They're leaving you alone. HR's scared of a lawsuit, George said. And Terry? She asked. We're trying counseling, he said. She's giving me one last shot. Brenda nodded. Good for you, she said. But it hurt. She wished Don felt the same. But after that one morning, Don barely spoke to her. Just handed her his lawyer's number and walked away. A few days later, she moved most of her stuff to Carla's. She hoped that giving Don room would help, that maybe with time, he'd talk to her again. One night, Brenda took the kids to dinner. They went to McDonald's, the one with the indoor play area. Chelsea and Trevor laughed, climbed, slid down the plastic tunnels. Brenda sat alone, watching through the glass. Her chest ached. Tears came again. Hold it together, she told herself. For them. That night, back at the house, she walked the kids to the door. They hugged her tight. Thinking she was back, she knelt down and brushed Chelsea's hair. Dad and I had a fight, she said gently, so I'm staying at Aunt Carla's for a few days. Dawn stood behind them, arms crossed. I love you guys, she said. I hope to be back next week. The kids looked unsure, but they didn't argue. They walked upstairs quietly. Then Don spoke. Brenda, he said, cold and sharp, cut the act. Don't lie to the kids. You're not coming back next week. You're not coming back at all. She spun to him, eyes wide, voice cracking. Don, come on. Please, I messed up, I know, but don't throw it all in the trash over one mistake. I'm begging you. I'm sorry, okay? Tears streamed down her face like she was trying to cry her way out of it. Dawn didn't blink. One mistake? He said, voice low, mocking. You spread your legs for that clown for a whole damn year. That's not a mistake, Brenda. That's a lifestyle. She shook her head, sobbing now. It didn't mean anything. I was lonely. I was stupid. You were selfish, Dawn cut in, stepping closer. You like the attention. You like the sneaking around. Don't come to me now with those fake A tears. I didn't mean to lose you, she whispered. You lost me the second you started calling him our baby behind my back, he snapped. You wrecked our home. You spit on our vows. And now you're shocked I'm done? He walked to the door and yanked it open. Brenda stood there, quiet, shaken. She gave a small nod, stepped outside, and didn't look back. Brenda knew she needed help. She asked Carla to go with her to see their parents. Carla set up a dinner for Friday night. Brenda had always been the calm one, the one who followed the rules. Her parents trusted her, but when she told them the truth, their faces dropped. They looked confused, sad. They thought she'd say Don had treated her badly, but she didn't have anything bad to say about him. By the end of her story, Brenda was crying, trying to hold it in. Her parents didn't say much. They didn't hug her or tell her it'd be okay. For once, they didn't know what to say. After a while, her mom came over and held her tight. We love you, Brenda, she whispered. We just hope Don finds a way to forgive you. The next week, Brenda got a lawyer. She wanted Don to see she was serious. Once the lawyers got in touch, Don started being more polite, at least about the kids. Brenda was allowed to pick them up on weekends and Wednesday nights. On Wednesdays, she could stay at the house. Don would leave and come back only after they were in bed. Brenda settled into the plan. Don didn't talk to her much, but she started cooking big meals those nights, enough to last days. It made her feel useful again. One night, a few weeks in, she came by like always. Don greeted her at the door and, for once, didn't leave right away. Brenda, he said, thanks for all the food. The kids really like it. She was caught off guard. Of course, Don, she said, smiling. Want anything special next week? I'll make it. Don looked down. Whatever the kids want, he said. That's all that matters. She didn't push it, but inside, she felt a little hope. Maybe giving him space was working. She started doing laundry too, even Don's. Folded his shirts, put them in his drawer. She wanted him to notice. One night, she left a note on top of his folded clothes. I love doing these things for you and the kids. She hoped he'd say something when she picked up the kids that weekend. He didn't. But he didn't avoid her either. They talked more, mostly about the kids. Some nights, their chats felt almost normal. Brenda told her lawyer to slow the divorce. Not enough to make it obvious, but just enough. The wait was 90 days. She was determined to win Don back before time ran out. He didn't seem in a rush to sign either. She took that as a sign. A month later, she decided to take a bigger step. That Wednesday, she dressed nicer, a little makeup, something that fit better. As Don was leaving, she stopped him. Don, she said, can we talk when you get back tonight? I have a surprise for you. He paused, gave her a look, then nodded. That night, when he came home, he looked unsure. What did you want to talk about? He asked. Not so much talk, she said, smiling. I want to give you something. He watched her, trying to guess what she meant. You didn't think I'd forget your birthday, did you? She said. She pulled a small box from her bag and handed it to him. Brenda, you didn't have to, he said. You're still my husband, she said, at least for now. He opened it. Inside was an Omega Seamaster. His style, clean, sharp. Don smiled, a real one. She stepped a little closer. He smelled like beer. Probably the end zone again. This was her chance. There's one more gift, she said, voice soft. He looked at her. I've missed you, she said. I know I've hurt you. I don't want to move back in. I just want one night. It's your birthday. Please, take me upstairs. He hesitated. Then slowly he reached for her hand. Later, they lay in bed. It felt almost like old times. Then Don sat up, grabbed his shirt. Brenda, I'm sorry, he said. I can't do this. I can't go back. I don't trust you. I don't think I ever will. I know you'll cheat again. No, I won't, she said fast. Don, please. That was a mistake. I swear to you, it won't happen again. She got up, tried to hold him. He pulled away. Don't, he said. He He pulled on his jeans, grabbed his keys, and left the room. Brenda ran downstairs. "Don!" she shouted, but the front door slammed shut. She rushed to the window. His car backed out of the driveway. She fell to her knees and cried hard. "What did I do?" she whispered. She ran upstairs, grabbed her phone, hit his name. "Don, please answer," she whispered through the ringing. He picked up. "What's wrong? Where are you?" she asked. "Please come back." "Just stay at the house," he said, voice flat. "I'll be back later. I just need to think." "Please come back. You scared me." "I'm sorry," he said. "I panicked. I'll be back soon. I need time. I love you," she said quietly. He didn't answer that. The line went dead. Brenda lay in bed for hours, staring at the ceiling. She hoped he'd come home and crawl into bed beside her like he used to, but he didn't. She fell asleep, still dressed, holding on to a hope that kept fading. Morning came. Brenda got up early. The house was quiet. She thought maybe Don had crashed on the couch, but it was empty. He hadn't come back. She made coffee, heart tight, phone in hand, ready to call him when she heard the front door open. She rushed to the living room. Don stood in the doorway looking wrecked, hair messy, dark circles under his eyes. "Oh my God, Don," she said, voice shaking. "Where were you?" "The park," he said. "Slept in the car." His voice was flat, tired. "I'm sorry I snapped last night," he added. Everything in my head was too much." Brenda stepped closer. "It's my fault," she said. "I tried too hard. I thought maybe the gift would help. I didn't mean to push. I just didn't want to lose you." She nodded toward the kitchen. "Come have some coffee, shower. We can talk." Later, Don came out of the bathroom, towel over his shoulder. His face was tight, shut down. Brenda felt it. Something had shifted. "Brenda," he said quietly, "I can't do this." She froze. "I keep going over it in my head," he said. "The cheating, the lying. Then you were gone and I hated it. I hated the silence. I missed you like hell." Brenda's chest ached, but she stayed quiet, holding on to his words. "I thought maybe we had a shot," Don said. "Maybe we could fix it. But even if we did, it'd take years, and it still might fall apart." Brenda set her mug down. Her eyes filled, tears spilled fast. She didn't speak, didn't move. Don's face cracked. His eyes went red and tears ran down his cheeks, too. They stood there in the kitchen, both crying. No yelling, no blame, just hurt. Then slowly, Don stepped to the counter, grabbed her car keys. He walked to her, wrapped one arm gently around her shoulder. He didn't say a word, just guided her to the front door. She didn't fight it. She didn't ask why. They both knew what this was. Goodbye.